For years, the entire world of search has basically spun on one simple axis: the click. But what if the click was never the whole story? What if behind that clean, simple interface, Google was watching every single move, every pause, and every time you hit the back button? Well, we decided to find out. And what we uncovered might just change how you think about search forever. So this all boils down to one fundamental question, right? Does Google see more than just your click? I mean, the common belief has always been that a click is, well, it's just a click, a single isolated event. But the evidence we're about to walk through suggests that the reality is so much more complex. And this really frames the whole story. On the left, you've got the old belief, the isolated click. You search, you click, story's over. But on the right, that's the new reality our investigation uncovered. It looks like Google is measuring the entire search journey, from the second you see the results page to what you do long after you've clicked a link. You know, every investigation like this needs a spark. And for me, that spark was an article by Promislav Harchan. He made this brilliant point that a click never happens in a vacuum. It always has context. Like, what else was on the screen? Did the user come right back? And reading that, well, it reignited my own curiosity and kicked this whole thing into gear. And all of that digging led me to one very specific, very mysterious place. A little endpoint called /gen204. Now, you can think of this as Google's hidden telemetry beacon. Every single time you interact with the search results, this tiny little endpoint gets a secret message sent back to Google's servers. So to actually see these secret messages, I had to build my own tool. It's a Chrome extension I call the AIO/AIM inspector. Its one and only job is to intercept and reverse engineer all that raw data so we can finally see exactly what's being sent back to Google. And here it is, live in action. This is the event stream from the inspector. I mean, look at this. Every single line is a different signal being fired off to Google. You can see organic clicks, you see SERP events. It's all being logged right here in real time. This is the raw data that everything else is built on. Okay, so we've got the tool, we've got the data stream. Now it's time to start decoding what it all means. Let's dig into the hard evidence. So first up, the classic organic click. The tool caught the code for a standard click as CT equals SLH. Now, we can be pretty sure that stands for search link hit. Sounds simple enough, right? But that's just the label on the box. The real magic is what's inside. Inside that click event, there's this absolutely massive payload called me equals. And when I say massive, I mean it. In some of my captures, a single click carried over 400 encoded tokens describing your viewport, your scroll position, the geometry of every single thing on the screen. The click isn't just an action, it's a detailed snapshot of the entire environment. Now, this next one is where it gets really interesting for me. Pre-click behavior. The inspector picked up this telemetry object called attention rollup. And just look at the variables inside. Hover in count and hover dwell MS. This is actual evidence that Google is logging how many times you hover over a result and for how many milliseconds, all before you even decide to click. And think about what that means. This isn't just random noise. This kind of data can help differentiate between an accidental mouse over and genuine focused user interest. It's a way to measure intent and consideration right there on the search results page itself. All right, let's talk about a theory that SEOs have debated for, years. Pogo sticking. You know the move. You click a results, the page is terrible, so you immediately hit the back button and go back to Google. The big question has always been, does Google actually track that? Well, here is the smoking gun. The telemetry doesn't just hint at it, it screams it. We captured events literally labeled CT equals back button and TT equals pop state. And even crazier, the TRS parameter measures the exact time you spent away from the search page. In one capture, it was 476,884 milliseconds. That's almost 8 minutes. So to make sense of this, I actually built this dashboard into the tool to visualize the entire journey. It takes all that raw data and stitches together these click and return sessions. You can clearly see the clicks, the time away, and those quick returns that signal, hey, this result wasn't what I wanted. This isn't a theory anymore. We can literally see the instrumentation. And get this, it's not just about user behavior. It looks like Google is also monitoring the technical health of its own results page. The telemetry is full of performance signals that look an awful lot like core web vitals, things like INP, FCP, and LCP. They're literally measuring the speed and quality of the SERP experience itself. Okay, so that's the traditional search journey, but we're living in the new world of AI-driven results, right? And as you're about to see, AI has its own, even more sophisticated data layer. Now, this slide highlights a really key distinction with AI. When an AI overview just shows up on the page, the system logs AIO equals 1. That basically just says, yep, it was here. But the second a user physically interacts with it, say they click to expand it, a totally separate signal fires, FID equals 18. So Google is making a very clear distinction between passive viewing and active engagement. And when you go into the full conversational AI mode, woo, it's a whole different ballgame. It gets its very own dedicated telemetry pipeline. We started seeing codes like S equals AIM to show the surface, a unique feature ID FID equals 268, and even parameters like AMQ, which seems to be tracking specific follow-up questions inside that AI chat. When you put all this evidence together, from the crazy rich click data to the back button tracking to these super granular AI interactions, you can only come to one conclusion. Google Search is not just a results page anymore, it is a highly instrumented measurement interface. So let's just do a quick recap of the biggest discoveries. We found direct, hard evidence for tracking back button returns. We saw that clicks are basically containers filled with rich contextual data. We uncovered telemetry that can measure user attention, like hovers and dwell time. And we confirmed that AI features have their own unique IDs to track interaction. Okay, now I have to be absolutely crystal clear about this next part. This is a reverse engineering project. What I'm showing you is what Google is capable of measuring. I am not, and I cannot claim that any one of these specific parameters is a direct, confirmed ranking factor. This is about capability, not confirmed application. But even so, what does this mean for anyone who does SEO? Well, it means the game has totally changed. Optimization can't just be about chasing that single click anymore. It has to be about satisfying the entire user experience, from grabbing that pre-click attention with a compelling title all the way to delivering a page so good that the CT back button event never even has a chance to fire. And that really leaves us with a huge question for the future, doesn't it? If nearly every scroll, every hover, every click, and every return trip is being logged and measured, what does it truly mean to optimize for Google in this new era? Look, this investigation is far from over. These findings are really just the first chapter. So I'm putting this out there to all the SEOs, the engineers, the search quality researchers. Let's test this stuff, let's validate it, and let's decode more of these signals together. The search page is talking, we just have to learn how to listen.